this gonna be my reaction for Akala's music video "Murder Around the Globe." Let's go.
Every shot that wanders through the nighttime, don't you wonder what potential was extinguished to keep the flames burning under through the underworld and overworld? Principles are so the same, no we pretend they're not as if they do not control cocaine. But you find it's connected, every kid in the hood that's living with a death wish is the same as the king who kills full of bling, but he's just much more reckless. It's the king that I'm talking about, who's born with a silver spoon in his mouth, still gonna clap for the slightest to chat at any world leader that can't back it. If he's sitting on the boxes, they're just oil mineral deposits, foodies moving fucking with our profit, so he better stop it. They say money make the world go round, but it don't. That's just
Yeah, is very interesting about this song is he talking about the weapons company and weapons in general with high-ranking people like the kings, president, government, and we always have to remember when people's talking about like in rap music like more mainstream rap music, they talk about like gangster rap with their weapons and their cars and all their women's and the diamonds and the gold. But we have to remember that it's extremely different with a dictator's weapons and the president in America or in other countries like similar to America, like in rich country like Bristol or all these countries. We cannot compare how much devastation a colonial power do to a country comparable to a gangster. Like if maybe a gangster maybe killed example 200 people maybe, and globalized weapon trade kills maybe 2 billion people. So it's a very good song, and it's very very interesting to really know, to understand. When we need to understand when we speak of other countries, we need to understand the Western country like Sweden, America. Our weapons are so much more devastation now, and other people in village like one example when he also example about the weapon like the drones, predator drones is also a weapon. But the song I really like about the song is he really talk about so far about all the weapons, and he really show a part of it. He explain that many other music don't talk about these kind of things, because they only talk about the more gangster style, but they don't really talk about the real people, like the big devils, like people with really big weapons, and like people with tanks, drones, hellfires, and all that kind of thing. And yeah, let us continue.
not true if you ain't got guns to protect that money. I regret that, sonny, it's more for you. Only murder further agendas that money couldn't force. Eliminate the foes who propose to suppose a different course. Cause a little torture, usually a big supporter. Though there's nothing quite like killing. Good riddance to non-supporters. We demonize the man on the corner, paint him as a thug. We worship murder so much, it's just that he ain't killed enough. You wanna commit murder and not end up in cuffs, you gotta make it to the Premier League. 1,000 whoever said that money makes the...
And here he say, if you like, they demonize the man on the corner, like the poor man, or a man who is poor, or look like he belongs to a gangster gang, is a gangster, look like that. But he also say, if you don't want to come in cops, like go to prison, you go to the Premier League. You have to be if you are president, you can sell like warplanes to other countries like say Saudi Arabia, like the very big dictatorship, and because you want the oil there, you want the diamonds, you want in different countries, you want the mineral, and you can always give excuse, like you always have free doors. You always in the public you are look very friendly, when the outside you are a monster, and that is the interesting thing with demonizing people. Some is poor, but maybe do a poor people, or maybe they look like they have a gangster, or maybe they look that they are look like a violent people, that they are a violent person. But that is totally different from what the government do to other countries, like they destroy village. One example now maybe it's not so much about weapons, but is like one example. When people buy like a sugar drink like Coca-Cola, Coca-Cola is one example for like sometimes they even go in a village and with weapons to threaten their village, to get their village to have to move. They're not allowed to have the water. If they have the water to take for Coca-Cola, and that also example, you can do a massacre in a village. But if you are a high-ranking country like America or Sweden or in big countries, you are not. It's hard to be judged for that. You can always run away, skip away, like to nobody gonna catch you, because how you cannot blame. You can of course you can blame a president, but you cannot really put the president in prison. That is totally almost impossible. Almost impossible to put an American president in prison. Even if the American president ordered maybe 200 or 2 billion killings, but like that is the interesting with this song, that he really show different league of killers, like one like the big killers, like killers and kill without repercussion for prison and this kind of thing, and that is interesting about that song. Yeah, let's continue.
All go round, they just didn't know. Murder runs the globe, murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They just didn't know. Murder runs the globe, murder runs the globe. Who said?
And I hope that he say money. They think money makes the world go round, but that is not true, because for rich people, of course, that is true for them. The very rich people so have big cars, TV, airplanes, big pools, big castles, and this kind of thing. But for like poor people in third world country, that is totally not the truth for them, because if really money go around the world, people should not go eat out containers, eat on the floor, on the ground, in the dirt, like if the really that was true, a weapon go around the world, that world will look at a better place. But that is totally not true for extremely many people, like poor people, and so if money was go around, people should have good schools, running fresh water, and all of that thing. That was true. Really, that if that was true with money go around the world, but the money go around the world for all the rich and people in around. But it's more commonly for a poor person to take up a weapon in a third world country, because they are tricked to take out the weapon, but because the rich people give the weapon to the poor person and say, "Oh, if you take this weapon, you fight for our liberty." And when they fight, like one example is the Russians and the Afghans, like when Afghanistan fight against the Soviet Union, and the Americans send them like the weapons against the helicopters. And after the war was finished, the Americans said, "Oh, sorry, we don't promise anything to you," and they just locked the door. "Oh, we don't like this." And that is the thing, is when a big country, rich country, they use poor countries, like poor people in poor countries. So it's good people. So it's just they are not they don't have money to school. They are poor, really really poor now, like in Congo, poor people. And they're rich infiltrator. The rich people, the weapon dealers. They go to the dictator in this land and say, "Oh, we give you a weapon and you protect our investment in this country." And but after this thing is finished, they just say, "Oh, fuck you! We don't promise anything to you," and then they go. So that is the thing. Like they use people as a puppet. So when the puppet kill person, the puppet look bad, but the person who control the puppet, they don't look bad because they are hiding in the shadow. So of course, all the big weapons dictators have are always from Western countries, like rich Western countries. But they are the people who invent all the big weapons, like the chemical weapons, and so on. And that is the thing, so that we always blame a third world dictator. They are horrible person, the dictators. They're horrible person, but they are not only person to blame. Of course, there's always something like American government behind in the shadows, always control something like that. Always like British government, or in Brazil, like the American president are friend with the Brazilian president, and they both of them are extremely racist, and it's always like that. So always the weapons always come from America to other countries, and yeah. So who is the real gangster? Is the man in the White House and his affiliates, or is that the more stereotypical gangster? Like so that is really a strange thing. And also about that is just that we like we is over that we always blame a terrorist for a suicide bombing or like a airplane attack in the building. But if we compare a terrorist attack comparable to drones attacks, is much more killing from drones, because they are more accurate, and you can it's very very easy to kill people with drones comparable to a suicide bomber. And they make this kind of machine weapons in democracy countries to kill people who don't want to be like them. And yeah, so yeah, I really like this song. Let's continue.
Money makes the world go round. They just didn't know. Murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They didn't know. Murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Every knife to punch your lungs, the sons don't make you wonder, mums. If he was born to billionaires, backed by 100 guns, would he be living still, drinking, sleeping, eating meals instead of dead? Where it don't count, we expect you to be killed. Cause living as a pauper is a fate that's tainted, acquainted with torture. We ain't debating the rape of the daughter. If she was raised in particular borders, place the fate made particular slaughters. No fate, just particular orders. It's the way of the world, no accident. In fact, it's immaculate.
Yeah, and here, like if this guy was born with from billionaires with 100 guns, and that just about that is if you are a rich person and you belong to a high up place, I don't know exactly why, but you place up in high ranking place, and you can do horrible things to other people, like you can treat women as trash and all that kind of thing, and you can you can do devastation. You can kill lots of people without replication because you are that person, because you are that ranking person. And that if you are a poor person and do the same thing, all people can say, "Oh, you are a monster. You are a monster." But if a rich, higher ranking person do that, of course, some people can say they are monsters, but the media don't show that way. Like example, like American president shake hands with the Saudi Arabian royal families, but the royal families are uh, horrible people to their own peoples. They have extremely dangerous weapons like tanks, airplanes, warplanes. But that is interesting. But when Donald Trump is a ban on Muslim people to America, but at the same time he send money to Saudi Arabian royal families. So it's like that is so hypocritical, and that is and even the English royal family and the prime minister shake hands with the Saudi Arabian royal families, and but at the same time they give them the weapons. But at the same time they talk how bad they are. But at the same time they give them weapons. That is hypocrisy in the fullest. And yes, that is so double-sided. It's like they always it's very double-sided and really yeah, this is like I can say it's very much like when rappers take up like weapons, they are a stupid black guy, like this kind of thing. But when a president sell weapon to dictatorship country, they are take picture of them. They don't sound anything, but they are, yeah, did I say before, the rich countries always use poor country and poor people as puppets for their own benefit to don't dirty their hands and these kind of things. Yeah, let's continue.
Got a big gun, start clapping it, cause the language of power devour quick. Any silly little pacifist or activist or challenges, brown or black skin savages who inhabit in land with minerals in it. Think for a minute of the rhetoric.
And here, they say they treat the other people as savages, but they think that way. The people who control the land and the other control land outside is for they want the minerals, like exactly as I said before, with the diamonds, the gold, and all that, or the oil, and all of it to make your country. You want that mineral, and you always find excuses to take the mineral. You always say, "Oh, we have to go to this country to help them fight against Arabian slave trade. We have to build a bridge with England." But they don't care at all about the slaves. They only care about the mineral. But you always find excuse to go to a country to colonize the country. Look, of course they need Christianity. Of course they need liberty. Of course they need our way of freedom. They are horrible. We need to save them. Exactly what King Leopold say when he sent his men to Congo. He say, and he tell all the people in Belgium like this. We're gonna help the poor Africans against the horrible Arabian slavers. But at the same time, he was a monster himself. He was an enormous monster. He do horrible thing. He cut off limbs on children. He forced them to work for him for rubber, and they people die. It's horrible death. They die because he want money. The Belgian king, he owned Congo with his own private investment. He have a big village, a big casinos, and he was, and still today people talk good things about the king in Belgium because he was a king, but he was it's similar to Hitler. He was a monster, and he do horrible things, and he treat people as object and like this kind of thing. But the only reason he could go without any punishment for that because he was a king. In that time, was it totally impossible to really judge a king or king guard children? How dare you even question they're behind prison? Oh, it's impossible. And like these kind of things. Yeah, let's continue.
Spoke hope was not meant to be a joke. Don't dream compassion, what happened it won't. Just go straight for the throat, cause any nation or races that prove themselves incapable, matching more than murder machines make themselves enslavable. It is murder, not money, we desire insatiable. The thrilling of the killing is $1 million sensational. Yes, what we can't do with a bribe could be achieved in the breeze with a gun and a knife. Because only murder further agendas that money couldn't grind. Nothing like a couple dead kids to change a parent's mind.
And what he said before, like, is the tens of millions accessible as a want? Of course, he say, and that is okay. That's true. People, they can just, if they know the other poor country have, also the reason why third world countries are poor is because of colonial history, because all of them take the rich from the countries. Like the countries have lots of diamonds, fertile lands, like with water. Like the reason why they are poor is because of the colonial, and the colonial take all the rich things from the country to bring it back to England, like the royal family's jewel, like crown jewel from India, and other country like in South Africa. Like the country was like the country were rich countries, but they are poor now because of the colonial power. And the colonial power, they make sure that people from that part of their country was like poor because they take control of them. They force them in slavery, working in gold mine, sugar field, rubber, and make them as savages because they want the excuse to go to this country, but they are for racist ideology and that kind of thing, and so on. Let's continue.
Whoever said that money makes the world go round, they just didn't know murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They just didn't know murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They just didn't know murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They didn't know murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Let's get a little clarity. You ain't got the capacity to internationally have a say in the way things happening. You expect to collect more batter in your arsenal, ain't got no nukes. Armies equipped with too few troops. We're laughing at you when you call truce. Part of the ritual to shoot. You got no background in colonization or public.
And here I also say they laugh at you because you have no colonization, like with weapons like drones. I say in the beginning of the video, with drones, hellfires, like missiles from airplanes, and they laugh at you because if American army really want to like this, when you blame a country for being terrorist, but you really need to see this thing is when American people want to kill somebody, so they don't think benefit to their economy, like benefit to them. They just go to ring a number, and they go to a computer and send away a missile. So, like, of course, like the big guys with the big weapons are the rich countries. So for they have money, you need money to build high technical weapons, but the only reason why we don't call American president or other similar countries to America so terrorist attacks, like one example is like Hiroshima in the World War II, like when they dropped the atomic bomb. The atomic bomb killed tripled so many people as a terrorist have done in a generation, because the weapon, chemical weapon. That is the thing. Like, we always blame people who look different as terrorists, but the real terrorists are the government in rich countries, like, some have these horrible weapons. Like, of course, like, one example is like, with when America go to Iraq when they want to stop Saddam Hussein, is they blame him for having chemical weapons. Of course, he have chemical weapons. The reason why he have chemical weapons is because America give him chemical weapons to fight against Iran. So who is to blame, really? Like, of course, he have the mustard gas and all the poison gas is from American weapons companies. So bring that weapon to him like this. So that is always the thing. That always they give the weapon and they blame them for something go wrong, and they want all the money for that and all this kind of thing. But the weapon always come from somewhere to this country. This country don't have all that money for that big weapons, like missile, poison gas, tanks. These monies always come from different places. So give them the weapon. Like, even here in Sweden, they sell warplanes to Saudi Arabia, and but they always it's always like two doors. Like, one door it looks like a democracy, and other door is selling weapons to dictatorship countries. And like this kind of thing. Yeah, let's continue.
Resource privatization. You can't bang when the big boys face it, but you still wanna play like Satan. You got no death squads to call your own, or a pilot to fly your drones, much less bulldozers for their homes. Talk gangster, you wanna name Al Capone? He was an amateur. Silly little boys don't understand. Even he went jail for tax evasion, for missing a payment in a payment plan to the man, one with a visible hand and a hit of pistol.
And he say, you want to play as a Satan, you don't have any death squad to call you on as a code. That is also the same thing with the rich countries. Some give money to one example is in Brazil, like the Brazilian police in favelas. That is also is a death squad, and they kill people they just kill. They use extreme violence. The police in Brazil, like the death squad police. And they also say about Al Capone, you want to call Al Capone, he was an amateur, and because Al Capone is not even comparable to their high-ranking president in the world now. Like, who can? Yeah, okay, he was a person to bring back alcohol when alcohol was forbidden in America, but he is not comparable to a president. Like, so many, I cannot say the numbers how many people have died of American weapons, like from American weapons, indirect and outright, like from drones or from machine guns. Is maybe, I have no idea how many, but it's a big toll of death. And that's what he mean. Like, Al Capone is amateur comparable to these people. Like, and this even possible. The American president, like right now, or Barack Obama before, or JF, oh, the guy, I don't remember the guy, but the guy with the president was like Donald Trump or Barack Obama. Like, the Barack Obama killed more people. More people than American president kills more peoples every year or every day comparable to a terrorist group like ISIS. Like, if you comparable, like one example, like if you compare ISIS with American military policy, American people kill more, American soldiers under the rule of the president and the Pentagon kills more people than ISIS have done in the lifetime they was active, because their American president have so much more technical weapons. It's incomparable to how many people the American army have killed comparable to like with ISIS. And other, if you more like so like this, like if you compare other thing like this, compare also like American people send president, the Pentagon send more weapons to Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabian royal families with their private armies kill much more people, and Al Qaeda, ISIS combined. And that is from a democracy country like America sent to a dictatorship in Saudi Arabia. And that is one very important thing now. I really need to say important thing. I don't say Saudi Arabian people are bad. I say the royal families in Saudi Arabia are do horrible things to their own peoples. They have nothing to do with Saudi Arabian people. There is many friendly Saudi Arabian people, but the same thing with America. There is good people in America, but not the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about the system. The systems are selling weapons to common people. They bombed other countries for they don't want to give the minerals them. If you don't want to give oil, we're going to bomb your country. And this kind of thing. So that's what I mean with that is the song. That is what the song Akala song is about. Murder around the globe. It's exactly about the weapon industry and the force to use weapons against people. Some they demonize to make us watch us make they are horrible people. For we are tricked to believe that way, and so on, and all that kind of thing. So the important thing here is not I don't blame a country, I blame the system of the weapon industry and the weapon traders. I blame them, I don't blame the country. So that is one very important thing I say. Let's continue.
What's my plan? I am just because I can. More wicked than a summer of Sam. Kick your shit like I kick my fam. You bust your gun and I bomb your land. Only murder further agendas that money can't control. Nothing like a massacred village to get the problem solved. Whoever said that money makes the world go round, they just didn't know. Murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They just didn't know. Murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They just didn't know. Murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They didn't know. Murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They just didn't know. Murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They just didn't know. Murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They just didn't know. Murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe. Who said money makes the world go round? They didn't know. Murder runs the globe. Murder runs the globe.
Yeah, this was my reaction for Akala's Murder Around the Globe. Yeah.